Hello there and welcome to the channel. My name's Annie and this is my creative detour. Today is Junk Journal January 2026 day and I am going on with 6 prompts. I'm doing 6 prompts per video and I'm doing a double spread, so 3 prompts per page. And today I'm covering number 7, which is touch, number 8 font, number 9 threaded, and then number 10 mood, 11 unfinished, and 12 still frame. So let's open up our journal and see what we're up to. So this was the spread that I did for the first 6 prompts, and we have creative reset, mood board, time worn, echo, page as an object, and landscape. And I will link the video for this spread down below if you're interested in going and watching it. And I'll also have below the link for you to go and see Creativity and Coffee, and that's who's hosting the challenge this January. So the information to get to her channel will be down below if you want to join in. So let's have a little look at all of the things that we're going to be working with today. I have gathered quite a few things. So you can see that I have prepped my page. I've put some gesso onto it. And I've also put some washi down the middle just to reinforce it a little bit. But this is our spread for today, and you can see that my journal is a accordion journal, and it's made out of junk mail from Regency 7 Seas Cruising. So it's just some cruising brochures, and I glued them together. So that's in the playlist below as well to see how I made the journal. So let me show you what I have. You can see that I have this lady here. It's an image, and one of the prompts is still frame, and you can see that she is finishing up work and the clock's on the wall and she's thrown all the bits of paper all over, and she's in a bit of a mood because mood is number 10. So I wanted to find a still frame image of something in movement that was captured that showed quite a lot of emotion. So she is in a bit of a mood. She's had enough and she's ready to go home. So I'm going to put her here, and she will be for prompts number 10 and number 12. And I'm going to have to do something on here for unfinished down the track. But let's have a look at what we're going to do on this side. So let me pull out all my bits. I have some bubble wrap. I have got a whole lot of tissue paper or dress patterns that have got text on it, and different types of font. So you can see here I have some tissue paper that has some branding on it, and some others here that have got some words on it. So we're going to use those. I also have this fabric here that is soft and nice to touch because touch is one of our prompts, and I'm going to use that on this page, and I'm going to lay down with some glue all of these first and prep the background. Then I'll cut out a piece of this for the prompt touch, and then another one that I have to use is threaded. So what I'm going to do is, you can see that on this page here I've put a whole lot of emotions on here, or statements, to address her mood. Things like no longer care, over it, move on, I've lost interest, bring on the weekend, I am spent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these into strips, and you can see that I've purposely done them in all different fonts. So we're looking at different font styles, and I'm going to weave those into my fabric here. So that's all of my resources and the direction that I'm heading in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move a few things to the side, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prep my backgrounds by putting down some of this tissue paper and dressmaking patterns that have words on it, and put it onto my pages. So let's do that first. Okay, so I have some Stamperia Mixed Media Art rice paper glue that I'm going to use for the tissue paper. So let's put some of this on, and all I'm going to do is layer it up, stick on my tissue paper, and I'm not going to worry about it being perfect. So I hope everybody's doing well and enjoying getting into some different projects and different prompts. I'd like to say a big hello and welcome to my new subscribers. I have a few new subscribers, which is lovely. Thank you for subscribing and joining our community. I hope you really enjoy being here and like chatting and like having a little bit of a flick through and a look through some of my other videos. But most of all, feel free to leave some comments below. That would be lovely. And if you're participating in the Junk Journal January Challenge and you are on YouTube, leave a comment below so that I can find you and watch your videos and subscribe to your channel. That would be great. You can see that I'm just trying to lay down some bits that have got different text or font on them. Okay, I'm happy with that. You can see that I don't need to cover the middle of my frame here because our lady's going to be our focal point there. So what I'll do now is I'll dry this off and tidy it up, tidy the edges up, and I'll come back to you in a moment. I'll see you soon. Okay, I'm back and my page is reasonably dry. It's not perfectly dry, but it's getting there. I'm just going to put some gesso on just to pull that back. I've got a dry brush. I'm using a dry broad brush, and you can see that it's just knocking back some of that intensity of the background. Okay, I'm happy with that. That will do. Okay, so now I've pulled out a few distressings actually, and I want to drop a little bit of colour onto here. So I'm thinking that I want to just do a little bit of a drag, and you can see that I have pulled out, here's our image, I've pulled out Victorian Velvet, Frayed Burlap and Lost Shadow. So I'm just going to do a little bit of dragging with those. So we have our lady here, she's going to go on to here. I'm liking that edge, and we'll get back to her later in the session. But let's focus on this page first, and I'm liking that colour of that frayed burlap with this, but I'll just want to stamp on a few bits of text. But let's cut this down, and I'm just going to cut it rough. I think I want it on a bit of a jaunty angle. Let's cut it there for the moment. And I'll use that sample for something else another day. I'm going to stamp a few stamps with some font on it. Okay, so the stamps I've pulled out are Stampers Anonymous, faded type, and it's number CMS397. I've got All and Create Bold Alphas, and it's number 336. And I've got All and Create 30 Days, and it's 992. So let's stamp a few of those on, and I'm just going to use VersaFine. So hello to all of my regulars. Thanks for stopping by again. Really appreciate you all so much. Appreciate you watching my videos and for leaving such encouraging comments. I read and respond to every comment, and I actually read quite a lot of your comments to my husband, and he thinks that they're lovely and so encouraging. So thank you for that. And you can see that I'm just putting a little bit of font around in different spots. That's got some texture to it, doesn't it? Now let's put some of our diffuser on. I'm going to rip it so that it's not perfect. So that's just some bubble that'll make it nice and squishy to touch. Yes, I'm liking that. Okay, let's have a little look at where we're at. I've put a little bit of colour into the background and I've stamped it with some different font stamps. So I think we've definitely ticked off our font prompt. Now I'm going to put some of this bubble wrap on, and I think I'm just going to stick it down with a little bit of double-sided tape, to be honest. Alright, I've put a little bit of double-sided tape on, but I think that I'm going to put art glitter glue down and just a little bit of double-sided tape just to hold it while it sets, just to keep it in position. I don't really want to see the tape through the bubble wrap. And I'm now going to thread into here some text. I have punched out with my Dymo machine some of the prompts. So let's do some of those first. We want them in threaded into our fibre. I think we'll thread our prompts in. We've got touch, font and threaded. Now let's pull out our words. What I think I'll do is I will stick this page onto some cardboard and then I will cut it all up and we'll work out which ones we're going to thread through. So I'll do that and I'll see you in a moment. Okay, I've cut down some of my different fonts that have got different emotions in it. So for mood, and I'll just put our lady over here so we can see where we're going. We have her, and she's had a bit of a busy day at work, and she's ready to go home. Now I've lost interest over it. Another lost interest, just in a different size. Actually, it might look better in a smaller one. Bring on the weekend. I have move on. No longer care. Bring on the weekend in a slightly bigger one. We'll put that to the side. And I'm spent. I think what I'd like to do is I'd like to put a little bit of ink on some of these. You can see that I have threaded into our netting. I've threaded in our prompts that I punched out on my Dymo. I've got touch, font and threaded. And I'm going to put a little bit of ink on these so that they're in our colour palette. And we'll thread all those ones in as well. So let's do that. I'm just going to get out some sponges and finger sponges, and we'll sponge a little bit of colour onto some of these. We just need to work out where we want them. So I think we want move on in pink. We'll do some frayed burlap on this one. And we'll thread all those in and see how they look. Let's do that. Okay, you can kind of see where I'm heading with this and what I'm doing. I'm putting some ink on, threading it through and getting it to sit right. I'll continue on with that. and show you in a moment. Okay, I've threaded that through. Let's have a little look at it. You can see that we have some touch things going on with our bubble wrap and our mesh fabric. And I have put on some font in the background, and then I've threaded through all of our different emotions and statements from our hero here. She's having a bit of a busy day at work, and we've got them all threaded through in different fonts through our mesh. So I'm happy with that page there. So that one's done. It was, I got to be honest, it was a bit of a palaver threading it all through, but it's down, it's stuck, and it's on there. Now, here's our hero. And what I'd like to do with this, we have 3 prompts to go on this side. We have mood, and we can tell her mood. She's pretty much exhausted and ready to go home. We have also got still frame. So our image here is a still frame of her throwing all of the pieces of paper up in the air and them landing on the floor. So what I want to do is I want to draw around some of those, and then our last prompt is unfinished. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry over our stencil pattern from on the previous page, because I like to carry something over to the next composition so that it kind of links them together. You can tell the styles are completely different here. So if I use the same patterned stencil, it will link something to the previous page. So I'm going to do some stenciling in the background of here, and we're going to stamp on a sentiment that says over it. So she's definitely overworked. So I'm going to stamp that in on first and emboss it, and then do some line work on it. So let's do that first. And I'm going to use just some little alphas, and I got these at Spotlight here in Australia. And I'm going to heat emboss it. So let's put some static powder on it. And I've got my embossing powder ready. Now I'm purposely going to do it all higgledy-piggledy because I think that she's had enough for today. I don't think she'll be trying to get it all perfect over it. And I think I need an exclamation mark. Let's put some powder on that. Okay, we've got that sorted. I've heat embossed that. So she's definitely over it. So now what I'd like to do is I'd like to put some stenciling on here. And I'm going to have to mask her a little bit. So we might put a little bit of tracing paper on her and cover her up. So what I think I need to do is I think I need to just trace around her roughly and cut it out. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm going to trace around her body and around where I want to stencil. And I'll cut that out. Alright, so I've cut that out, and we're going to be able to position that over the top of her. But before I do, I want to just go around some of this paper that's throwing up into the air, because I'm not going to be able to see where it is. So let's get my pen out, and I'm going to outline some of the paper so that we can see it being thrown up into the air, because I can't really see it through the stencil very well, so I want to be able to see it. And we'll outline some of the ones that are down on the floor as well. And I think that we'll just outline some of her shadowed bits and the clock. Time to go home clock. Okay, that's great. I'm happy with that because I now need to position this over it and put my stencil on, and I'm going to tape that down with a little bit of double-sided tape just to keep it still. Don't want it to move. And then we'll stick this down with some tape, and I'll get her in the right spot. Stick that, and I'll pop that on there, and we'll stick it on the side as well. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some Victorian velvet on and stencil the background, but I'm not going to do the whole background. I'm going to leave some of it unfinished because that's one of our prompts, is unfinished. So hopefully the tracing paper will protect our person. I'll put some more stenciling around her. Okay, now before I lift that off, I also want to put a little bit of pen work around it because I need to make it look like it's unfinished. So I'm going to go around the edges of the stencil and draw the pattern on so that it's not finished everywhere. Some of it has some of the line work drawn on it and some of it doesn't. So I want it to look half done. Now let's have a little look and see what we think. Yes, that's going to be okay. Let's take all this off now and deal with that later. Oh yes, I'm happy with that. There we go. That's how it's looking. The wall is half done. It's unfinished. All right, now let's put her in to our page. So let's put a few white splatters on this. And I'm just going to use Liquitex acrylic ink. So we'll just drop a few splatters on to brighten it a bit. All right, the splatters are on. Now we have our lady ready to glue in our page. I also have the other three prompts. Now I have mood, which she's definitely in a bit of a mood. We have unfinished. Our background is unfinished. And we have a still frame. So we have our lady here. Now I think we should name her. I think she looks like a Tracy. Let's go Tracy. Tracy here looks like she's had a very hard day at work and she's over it. So let's glue in our unfinished still frame and mood into our list of prompts, and we'll tuck them in so that they're threaded through as well. Look at the state of my hands. I have been playing and having fun. I love it. So let's tuck in unfinished. Our still frame is down the bottom and we'll stick our lady in. Let's do that. And our tracing paper mask worked well, didn't it? It meant that we got a nice crisp outline of her for our stencil. Okay, so let's have a little look at what we've created. Now, what I do need to just say is I'm so sorry about the lighting. I've just got to the end of making everything and downloaded my files, and the lighting is absolutely atrocious, so I'm so sorry about that. So I'm re-videoing the back of the video so that you can see things a little bit better. I got a new light, and my husband was so wonderful because he installed a new light for me. He went looking for a light that would work better for me. So for those of you that are new, you might not know that I actually lost my sight probably about 8 years ago, and I'm so blessed to have got my sight back, and I'm so grateful that I can see. However, I do have some sight problems now because of my situation. So he was so lovely, and he tried to find a better light for me. But unfortunately, the new light that we've installed, it's fabulous for me to be able to see, but it's hopeless for videoing. So we're going to have to still go down the rabbit hole of trying to look for a better light for filming. So I have tried to correct the video as much as I can in the editing process, but I could only do so much. So I'm so sorry about that, but we'll push through. So here's our lady, Tracy, and she has had a very tough week at work, and she's got herself into a bit of a mood, and mood is one of our prompts. It is number 10. And she has thrown all of the papers into the air and said, I'm over it. I no longer care anymore. I'm not interested, and bring on the weekend. So she has called it quits for the week. So this photo here is our still frame, and you can see that all the papers are in the air and it's captured it at that point in time. I did some rendering on the back here and rendered the stencil, and I didn't render the whole wall, so it's unfinished. So that's our prompt over there. Here we have some text in the background, some font that I stamped, and we have different fonts that are all typed out for some of her emotions, and I've threaded them through the fabric background, textured background. So that's threaded and that's font, and it's really lovely to touch. So it's very tactile. I've also put some bubble wrap onto it. I'm not sure that the camera will pick that up. Maybe some bubble wrap underneath. So when you touch it, it's very tactile. So there we go. There's our 6 prompts for this week. Now, next week we will go on to our next page on here, and the prompts that I will use on there are paper trail, morning, frost, paperclip, ink, and accidental. And if you'd like to join in on the challenge, it is hosted by Creativity and Coffee. It's got some really interesting prompts, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I'm really happy that I managed to pull a story together that included the 6 prompts, because it is a little bit tricky, but I'm happy with how it turned out. And I loved having a bit of a play and using some different mixed media and some different techniques. So thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you tuning in and sticking around till the end. So once again, I'm really sorry about the lighting. I'll continue to try and find a solution, one that works for me with my eyes, but also is not overexposing it for you guys as well. But we'll get there in the end. We'll just keep ticking away and trying our best. All right, I hope you have a wonderful week this week and have an opportunity to create something fun and new. And I will see you again on Thursday. Thanks for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. Bye for now.